feel like we're living in a time where people are questioning dangerously little. Like, we don't question a lot of the information we get. We don't question people who are in power or above us. Um, we don't question societal norms and values because that's just what is. And I don't see a way that we can progress as a species if we do not question things and find ways to change them for the better. I saw a quote the other day that really hit home with me, and it went along the line something like this. Don't quote me. This isn't verbatim, but it was, don't let being a good descendant make you forget that you could be a good ancestor. Don't In other words, don't get caught up trying to please your ancestors that you forget that you could be a good ancestor to a child or to a younger generation. Um, but in order to do that, we have to start questioning things. Um, I have to start questioning things. It's funny because my my wife and my stepson, we had just walked in the house just yesterday actually. And I was the last one in the house, and I did not shut the front door all the way. I'd walked into the kitchen and I heard my stepson Liam say, "Who was the last person in the house?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Why is the front door still open?" And I felt a little bit of irritation because it was me, and I didn't want to be held accountable for that. So I got a little irritated, and I was like, "It was, it was me, but you do it all the time," or something like that. And my wife caught me and she was like, "Hey, uh it if we do that to him, he can do that to us. He can hold us accountable too." And that really kind of just shook me and made me realize that, yeah, like, the same standards that we hold for people who are below us, we have to hold ourselves to in positions of power, with more responsibility, not power, but the more responsibility you have, the more you have to hold yourself accountable. And then also, what comes with that is I have to question the things that I didn't like, that that I went through, that my parents did. And that's no disrespect to them. And that's an issue too, because growing up, a lot of times me disagreeing or questioning something that my parents said was, instead of looking at that as a healthy thing, I think my parents kind of internalized that as disrespect, or just trying to cause conflict, which no kid is. I think kids are just genuinely curious. And so, growing up, I always had this internal panic that anything that I questioned, because I questioned so much, anything I questioned was going to be received as disrespect. Um, and I question a lot. I ask a lot of questions. I try to figure out a lot of things. And so growing up, I think, as I was trying to develop socially, it really stunted my growth socially to be scared to have a voice, because I am very opinionated and I am very much against, not against, that's not the right word. I'm very much indifferent from what a lot of this world has to offer, and what a lot of people consider normal, because this stuff isn't normal, y'all. Um, like, the amount of work we have to put in just to get by, not even to actually genuinely live, but just to survive. The amount of effort we have to put in just to survive as a species is insane. Um, and yeah, we have to start questioning some of these norms. Like, you know how many times that I have had conversations with people or have just noticed things about people where they're like, I hated it when my parent did this, or when my teacher did this, or when my boss did this. And then you know how many times people go and they do the same exact thing? They let that trauma or that bad experience feed them into whatever they are now responsible for. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. And if that's all you've ever known, of course your brain is gonna kick into that automatic mode, uh that learned behavior of repeating what you've seen. But that's why it's so important and healthy to question things, y'all. Like, you're not wrong for thinking that you were mistreated. If that's your experience, if that's how you feel, then honor that. Honor yourself. Know that how a person or a situation made you feel, if it made you feel wrong, then it was wrong, and try to find ways to not repeat that and break that chain, break that cycle, break that generational curse. I feel like a lot of parenting in the past and even into modern society is to have the notion or the idea that we're trying to make our kids be like us, that we're trying to, mold our kids into, you know, good people, but usually it's to mold them to be like us. And when you really sit down and question it and think about it, that you're you're building you're essentially building a character that is playing in a different mode. Like the things that um, society accepts for my generation is not the things that will be for my son. I'm I'm raising I'm raising a child that is in a different time. And so you almost have to be willing to learn what's going on with them and stay current and question my old beliefs, because these are new times. And far too often we have, people that get caught up and locked into what they know, and they do not grow and expand, and then they build, just toxic relationships with their children because you're clashing your old mentality, your old learned things with a child who like is low key kind of knows more than you because he knows more about the current times. And it's really frustrating, as like in my experience being a child and having parents that were somewhat traditional in a sense, and me understanding that there were certain things that I was being taught, or certain things even that I wasn't being taught, that I wish I had known about, because what was going on in their generation is different from what's still going on in mine. So to anybody with kids out there, or who works with kids, just be mindful that you're passing the torch. You're you're forming the core values of the next generation, but we're not the goal is not to form ourselves in this younger generation. We are supposed to want better for them. I want better for my kids than what I had for myself. That what my family has had. I want better for them. And having that mentality, I can't get caught up in trying to make them believe and be everything that I am and what I believe, because that's just not realistic. Just a lot of things don't line up with the things that my parents wanted for me as a child. Um, the things that they instilled in me, a lot of those things don't resonate with me any longer, because I have gotten to know myself, and because I have researched things and read things, and my points of view are drastically different, and sometimes it makes it hard for and sometimes it makes things hard to see eye to eye, especially with my dad, um, just because I I actually question things, if that makes sense. Um, because ultimately we're all just making our best guess. What drives me insane regarding religion is the fact that people take religion as fact. People take faith as fact, um, which if faith was fact, it would just be called fact, correct? No, so what you believe is actually your faith. You don't know that it is right because it is not fact, it is faith. So do I believe in God? Yeah, I believe in God. It might not be how other people believe in God or interpret God because everybody has their own interpretation, but your interpretation of it is not fact. It is just what you believe. And so when we attack other people for what they believe, why? It's not it's not fact. It's not like I'm going and saying the sky is blue to somebody and somebody's getting mad saying the sky is red. That would be infuriating, right? Because obviously everybody can go outside and look and see that the sky is blue. We cannot we cannot debate with certainty. Okay, if you want to have a friendly debate, sure, but you cannot debate with anybody, with me. You can't debate with certainty that what you believe is true. The reasoning for people debating their beliefs is because it holds value to their ego. It it's an unhealthy ego is what it is because you're holding value to your ego because that's what you believe, that when somebody else opposes what you believe, they have a different belief, it riles you up. That's your ego. It's riling you up because it's, that's not what I believe. That goes you're trying to go against me and what I believe. Like, no. That's, it's just developing a healthy ego. And in order to do that, you got to question stuff. And there's a lot of people out there with unhealthy egos because they're not willing to question even what they believe or take in new information. They're locked in to a fixed concept of themselves. You are not your ideas. You are not your thoughts. Those are things within you, but those are not who you are to your core, which is, spirit, love. That's what I believe. So when people get locked into these ideas and their ego, I'm just like, I don't even give it time. People want conflict. So many people want conflict and drama out there, and I'm just like, question yourself. Question yourself, and if somebody else wants to keep coming at you for something, just walk away from it. But we all just have to be healthier and hold ourselves accountable. Read books. Get on your phone that all of us are on so much and make good use of your time by learning new things. Find out new information. Find out the best way to parent or to to be a guardian of a child for their best interest, not for yours. Because that's ultimately not what we're here to do. We're not here to selfishly live through the next generation that's supposed to push this world forward. We're gonna be gone before they are. We got to make sure they're good. Right now, I'm reading a book with my wife, slowly but surely. It's called The Conscious Parent, and I'm gonna make a video sometime about all the books that have helped me when I eventually get through all of them. Because right now I'm in like halfway through like one book. I just started another, and I'm trying to start another. So like I'm gonna finish all these individually, and then I'm gonna make a video about it. But we're reading a parenting book right now, and it opens your eyes to what you might have been doing wrong in the past. And and it sucks because I think this way, I thought everybody thought like this. Like I thought people question their intentions and what they do, and they try to be better and they try to improve, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. And it's really like affecting the flow of just society in general, because like people, our first instinct is always to blame external things, like, oh well this person said that to me, this happened, my situation at home, like, but people are not looking at themselves. You do not have to act on whatever is going on in your personal life, or you know, like you can't blame your traumas forever. Eventually you have to grow and heal and be the best version of yourself. If you're waiting around for other people to become better, you're going to be sadly mistaken and disappointed. The only thing that you can do if you want to see change is to be the change that you want to see in the world. And then people will see that. You'll be a living testimony. People will see that you're improving and you're changing, hopefully. And then maybe they'll make some changes too. But it can't be the other way around. You can't sit around and wait for other people to change. You have to hold yourself accountable, and it starts with you. It starts with me holding ourselves accountable to making this a better world, because it's not, as long as we keep pointing the finger, only take pointing the finger as blame most of the time. So if you're sitting around complaining about people and pointing the finger at them, all that's getting done is you're just offending more people. So just be the change that you want to see. For me, I was tired of a lot of people speaking to me kind of recklessly. And I had to question myself and try to figure out. And I tried different things. I was like, okay, well, do I? I was like, well, do I, get an attitude back with them? Do I say something reckless back to them? Do I just, walk away and like leave that fire uh, just ignited in me because it irritated me? And then eventually through reading and learning about things, I realized for myself the best way to deal with people like that is by understanding that how they are treating me has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them and what they're going through, um, and just how they view the world and interpret the world. It's not a reflection of who I am, because I know who I am, and I'm not anybody who would, you know, hurt anybody. Um, I'm a person who will push a lot of buttons by questioning things. Absolutely. So, in that sense, if you have a fragile ego and I question something that you believe in, then sure, yeah, I hurt people. But I would never directly say something offensive or rude to anybody, because I think that's gross. So what I've figured out about myself is, to people who are like that, I understand that where they're coming from has nothing to do with me, and I also have the understanding now that I'm not going to let people live in my head rent free. You got to pay to get in here. My energy is valuable, my time is valuable, because I know my worth. And I'm not going to just let anybody in here, especially hecklers and people who are rude and get offended easily, and have fragile egos. And people out there who feel powerless and insecure will try to control your emotions by doing crappy things to you, but you can gain control of their emotions by showing them that what they're doing has no effect on you. Some of the best fighters that I've ever watched in my whole life have been the ones who don't throw the best punches but take the best punches. There's one guy, a UFC fighter. I'm not gonna try to say his name or anything because I just saw a clip on like an Instagram reel or something, but it was just getting punched in the face, and all he was doing was just smiling at the guy. And that is crazy when when your opponent is realizing that they have no control over you. That's a scary thing for people who want to throw punches, and there's a lot of people that do that. So yeah, I don't let. I'm just working on not letting negativity and traumatized people affect me. What you're going through, your issues, they're not my fault, and I'm not going to take responsibility if you want to be rude to me about it. That's something that you need to heal in yourself. I'm working on my healing. I'm finding my peace, and you're not going to disrupt it. Not even if you tried. And I don't say that out of arrogance. I say that out of self-love for myself because I've been through so much in my life, a lot of stuff that I haven't even talked about, and I might not ever talk about. But because I know where I have come from, and I have that self-worth and that self-love that I'm trying to discover, a lot of people get intimidated by that because they do not have it, and they will see it as arrogance. But I know better. I'm learning and growing every day, and I'm trying to be the best version of myself possible for my children, for my wife, for the people that matter in my life most, and for the people who are going to push this generation and the world forward, because that's what they deserve. They deserve people who want to push the envelope, who want change. And I want to be one of those people. And in order for me to do that, I have to question myself and figure out how to be better. But that's my message for today, y'all. Just don't forget that not only are you a descendant, but you're also an ancestor. You are, and you have that power. You have that power to change everything. Even if you're not the person changing it directly, you could literally be, if you're around a child, you could be around or guiding the next Gandhi, the next person that is a historical figure, a significant figure in world history. So just be mindful of that. But if you haven't subscribed already, in the corner right over here, please hit subscribe. And I hope you guys have an amazing day and an amazing life. Love y'all. Peace.